Hi and welcome to A Plant-Based Nerd. My name is Lissa and today we're going to make some amazing Star Trek cookies. But before we get to that, make sure to click the subscribe button and also ding the notification button so you can get a notification for every single time I upload a video, which will be 2 to 3 times per week. So as I said, we're going to be making some Star Trek cookies, some Star Trek communicator badge cookies actually. The new Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery, is going to be coming out soon. I am so excited for it. I know some people are not too happy with it. I know the Klingons, they look real different, so that'll be interesting. I'm really excited. So these will be perfect for a watch party if you were going to have one. So these are the only 3 ingredients you're going to need in order to make the batter of the cookies. You need 2 fairly ripe bananas, 1/2 of a cup of walnuts, and 2.5 cups of cereal. You want to make sure that the bananas that you are using are on the larger side. 2 small bananas will be too dry and your cookies will burn. The cereal that I'm using is from Aldi. It's this protein fiber cereal, but it's actually a knockoff of the Kashi Go Lean Cinnamon Crunch cereal, and you should be able to use this in place of it instead. Here is what that Kashi cereal looks like, and you can get it at any Walmart. And here are all the ingredients you're going to need in order to make your icing with. You're going to need 1 cup of cashews, 4 to 5 dates. You can get the pre-pitted ones or you can pit them yourselves. I just bought these because it's easiest. And some food coloring of your choice. And here's the rest of the equipment that you're going to need to make the cookies with. If you would like a full list, you can find it in the description box. And lastly, you're also going to need a food processor. I have no idea what the model number is for this one. It's over a decade old, so it's probably not on the market anymore. So the first step is to peel your bananas, place them in a bowl, and start mashing them up with a potato masher. If you stop here, you're going to regret ever making these cookies. These are not mashed enough. You need to keep going until they're fairly liquefied. This is the consistency that you're looking for. They need to be as lumpy-free as possible. Next, we're going to be basically making a flour out of the cereal. So you want to put it in your food processor, the 2.5 cups of cereal, and then you just want to pulse it and let it run until it's very, very finely ground. It's okay if it does have some chunks in it though. So we're basically going to be doing the same thing with our 1/2 cup of walnuts. You want to put it in the food processor and let it blend up until it's very, very finely ground, but you cannot walk away from this. If you do, it will eventually just turn into a walnut butter, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something that's very finely ground like this. After you've ground up the cereal to make the flour and the walnuts as well, you just want to combine in a bowl. You want to combine very well, and that is what makes the batter for our cookies. After that's completed, you want to put your batter on the plastic wrap and wrap it up in a ball, and then you want to place it in the freezer for an hour. After your batter has been in the freezer for an hour, you want to take it out. It's very important to leave it in there for that length of time because we basically want it to be the consistency of Play-Doh, and it's very hard to work with if it isn't cold like that. And before we start forming our cookies and putting them on the tray, you definitely want to make sure to spray the tray down. If you don't, the cookies absolutely will stick to it. So next you just want to start forming the cookies. I did this all by hand and eyeballed it. It's a very forgiving recipe. You can very easily correct any mistakes. It's not a cookie batter that you can use cookie cutters with though. It's very sticky. And about by the 6th one, you're probably going to need to wash your hands and start over. But if the shape isn't quite perfect, it's not quite where you want it, don't worry. The shape is going to look so much better when we actually put the icing on the cookies. That's really what gives it that touch. So I have 6 of the communicator badge cookies, and I also just finished up the batter by making some round, plain cookie shapes. I'm actually going to freehand the communicator badge symbol on with icing onto 2 of those, just to kind of show you what that looks like. So if you are not feeling quite adventurous enough to form them by hand, that you have another option. So after you're done forming the cookies, you just want to put these into an oven that has been preheated for 325 for 15 minutes, and then we're going to take them out of the oven and flip them. We're going to put them back in for 5 to 7 minutes. Now I just want to jump in here real quickly and give you a disclaimer. The cookies that you just saw might have looked burned to you. I promise you that they are not burned. They don't taste burned. They actually don't even look that burned in person. I think it might be partly camera. However, I did change the cooking time and cooking length multiple times because they did burn pretty quickly and easily. So if you were to ignore how long I tell you to put them in, or to increase the cooking temperature, you probably are going to burn them. There was one instance where my kitchen was full of smoke, so you need to do it according to the instructions. This is not a recipe where you can just do whatever you want. You gotta follow the instructions. Really, you should do that with like most recipes, to be fair. So now we're going to make the icing for the cookies, and we're just going to start with 1 cup of cashews and 4 to 5 dates. So now you just want to place both the cashews and the dates into your food processor, and you want to start blending them. And it is going to take some time, so be patient with it. This is what it's going to look like in mid-process. It's not quite done yet. We're obviously not near a creamy consistency. So at this point, I would start adding in a little bit of water. I would say no more than 2 tablespoons, but just start adding a little bit of water and it's still going to start getting really, really creamy. And this is what it should look like when it is ready to be used and once you're ready to mix in the food coloring. It can dry out over time, so if you need to add in a little bit more water to mix it in, or when you're putting it in your piping bag, that's totally fine. This is a very forgiving icing recipe as well. As you can see, it's very sticky. It's not a traditional icing recipe either. So here I just have my bowls ready to mix in the food coloring. I'm just using a regular food coloring that I got from Walmart. You could use something more natural if you like, but I'm not worried about it, so that's what I'm using. So here I've just mixed in the food coloring into the icing, and you'll probably find that you're going to need a little bit more food coloring than you're probably traditionally used to using for icing, because it does have a natural yellow tint to it because of the dates. And now we're all ready to apply the icing. And what I did was I just went over it first with a knife, trying to keep the edges as clean as possible. And then I went back over it with the piping bag on the edges to really clean up the lines and to give it a really crisp appearance. And there you have it. Those are our Star Trek Communicator Badge cookies. They are pretty healthy, they're pretty fun to make, pretty simple, and I hope you guys love this recipe as much as I do. I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. Please be sure to tag me on social media. All my social media will be linked down below. Thank you so much again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. They're like Spock ears. Ooh! No. What's that? No, my other ear's missing. Can't. What was it? No, I don't want to go to your brunch. Not interested. So as I said, we're going to be watching some Star Trek. What? No, we're not. We're not watching Star Trek. I mean, I'd love to do that with you, but we're making Star Trek cookies.